Hello, my name is Tendai Manombo, and this is Real Talk. Today we talk about the education system here in Zimbabwe. Our country has taken great pride in its high literacy rate and premium quality in the education system for decades. However, over the last 20 years, the country has witnessed a gradual shift in the education department. Teachers have been striking on and off for increased salaries. The curriculum has been revised to the point where parents are left with many questions as to the relevance of teachers if the bulk of the work is left to the students as homework. While all this is happening, the standard of physical infrastructure has continued to take a nosedive, and concurrently, attention to sports and extracurricular activities has depleted a great deal. Today we have Mr. Robson Chere of the Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe, ARTUZ. Robson Chere is the National Secretary General of Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe. He is also a teacher at Arcturus High School. He is a 2019 Mandela Washington Fellowship who studied leadership at Kansas State University in the USA. He also holds leadership awards with the Kansas Leadership Center and Staley School of Leadership Studies. He is a former Hillside Teachers College SRC president and the current Citizens Cabinet Minister of Education with the Citizens Manifesto. Welcome to our show, Comrade Chere. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on the program. Greetings to you, viewers and listeners.
All right, so we'll just cut straight to the chase. Please, may you just tell us in brief what the mission of ARTUZ is?
Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe is an organization which fights for pro-poor education in Zimbabwe, as well as labor justice and access to quality education in Zimbabwe.
All right, okay. And while you're here, are you at liberty to represent rural teachers and urban teachers as well, or it's just strictly for the rural population?
Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe, since its formation in 2013, it was representing rural teachers operating in the 8 rural provinces of Zimbabwe, excluding Harare Metropolitan and Bulawayo Metropolitan. But because the teachers who were in the urban areas feel like they have been left because of the quality of representation in terms of educational issues that we're doing in these 8 provinces. So they asked for it being integrated in the Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe, and the National Executive Committee of Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe met and came up with the resolution to include urban and the urban provinces in our structures. So now I can safely say that we now operate in all the 10 provinces in Zimbabwe, and we've got structures across all the 10 provinces in Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Well done for that great growth. Do you have, and can you please give us an indication of what your membership looks like the membership of ARTUZ?
Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe has got a membership which is categorized into 3 sectors. We have got what we call full members. These are practicing teachers who are in classroom, who are subscribed to the union. They pay membership subscription for the membership servicing. These are members whom we categorize in that first category as full members. Then we also have got honorary members. These honorary members, they are honored to be part of Amalgamated Rural Teachers membership because of the impact that they will have done towards education. So they are honored and given a membership status of honorary membership.
Okay.
They might not be teachers, but they might be individuals who are doing great work in any other sectors, but contributing towards the education sector. They are given membership status in the Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union as honorary members. Then we also have got what we call associate membership.
Okay.
This now gives room for other even sectors like organizations that will be doing impact work also in the towards education sector, particularly with a bias towards rural education because of the inequality gap between urban and rural education. So we can give even organizations that are doing great work. That's associate membership. So that is the category of the membership status.
Okay,
but also in terms of numbers,
yes.
in terms of numbers, I can say that Amalgamated Road Teachers Union of Zimbabwe is one of the fastest growing teachers union, not only in Zimbabwe, but now we can realize that it is now the fastest growing teachers organization in the Southern African region because of even its impact and because of the numbers that are joining the union on a daily basis. We now have got a person who is responsible for capturing data of members who will be actually asking to join the union, and we now have got a membership of more than 35,000 members.
How do we have access to this, just to verify that you are indeed the fastest growing union?
We do have.
Where can we get that information?
Yes, you can get that information from our offices. It's unfortunate because these are confidential documents. We can't bring them and in the public.
Yes.
But if you want, you can visit our offices. We can show you that we are the fastest growing teachers union in the southern region of Africa.
Okay, so you don't have anything online?
You can go to our website and check. Also, you can go to our Facebook page. You can check, and you can even check even with the number of followers that we have even on Twitter. And the impact.
Yes, but that's social media. Those are followers, not members.
Yes, but in members, we can't put our members online. You can't put our members online, like I said before. You can visit and you can come and verify. We share with you the documents you see, because they are confidential.
No, understandable.
We can't put them in the public domain, but we have those in our database at our national office, which is there.
Okay, great. Now, Artus has been known for demanding US dollar salaries, and you pegged your desired salary at $540. What's the basis for this figure?
Okay, thank you so much for reiterating the point that we have been known for demanding the US dollar salaries, but we are also known for a lot of things other than the US dollar salary. In this case, we are talking about the USD salary because it is the one that is active in our economy. But our main demand is about a living wage.
Okay, great.
Before we talk of a decent wage. So a living wage is being derived from the fact that in our economy, the currency that is active in our economy is the United States dollars.
Yes.
And for the teachers to be also active in an economy, because teachers are also citizens who want to live, they must also be able to be transacting in the currency that is active in the economy, which is the United States dollars. And this has been a call that we started even when our employer, which happened to be the government, chose to lie to us in 2018 that the USD is now 1:1 with a bond note. Yet we were aware that this is not the situation on the ground. And we've been advocating for the restoration of those pre-October 2018 salaries. Down the line, if you remember, just a few years ago, 3 years back, we had a protest walk from from Mutare to Harare, which took us 10 days walking, demanding.
Yes, that was quite an interesting initiative.
Yeah, but
quite a way to go about it.
Yeah, it was by then. It was only Artus as a teachers union which was demanding the salaries in United States dollars. But we had that vision, and we remained consistent because we knew that the agreement that was there, but that the shift by the government from the United States dollars to the bond note of RTGS was just a fake shift, or it was nothing that was going to sustain what we wanted. United States dollars, which are circulating in the economy. But by then, people turned to some other sectors or some other teachers union deviated from that position. But as of now, we can see that all the sectors now are demanding that United States dollars to be paid in United States dollars.
Yes, and that's all right. We got that part. But why $540 to be exact?
Thank you for coming up with that very powerful question. And also, I think even the ordinary citizens need to know this, because there's a lot of misinformation about this issue of United States dollars. Some saying teachers have got their demands are high, they are unreasonable. So what we are saying as a teachers union, we are saying we are not demanding any salary increment from the government. What we are demanding is the restoration of the agreement that we have with the government. This is the binding agreement that we have pre-October 2018. Teachers were earning salaries of 540.
And they were comfortable. They were comfortable.
Yes, they were comfortable with that 540 United States dollars. For a start, it was a basic living wage. And this is the living wage that we are saying, no. We have seen that the announcement that was made by Minister Mthuli Ncube is a fake thing. It doesn't work actually, because at the end of the day, we are living like slaves. We want just the restoration, not any salary increment. We want that restoration so that at the end of the day, we will be able to survive like an ordinary citizen,
so to speak.
We are working in a
just to be dignified.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, something like that. So that is what we are simply asking. No any salary increment, the restoration of 540 United States dollars.
All right, that's fair enough. How well do you work with other teachers' unions?
We work with other teachers' unions very well. Actually, Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe is actually has got the chairman post of the FOZEL, the Federation of Educators Union in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So we actually reached out to our sister unions so that at the end of the day, the issues that affect teachers are the same, and we need a collective voice. United we are stronger, divided we are weak. So we reached out to them. We launched the FOZEL, and we are chairing that federation. Of course, there's this other association which is not there, which is Zimta. Okay, never mind. It's not a union; it's an association. But all other unions are in that federation.
Okay. It's funny you should say that you work well with them, because some of your counterpart unions say ATUZ is an attention-seeking union. And what do you have to say about that? Can you refute that assertion?
ATUZ is a progressive teachers union. When I'm saying progressive, I'm just simply saying in terms of its objectives and in terms of its representation, without any compromise, without any fear or favor, we do it with our passion, because ATUZ is a teachers union which is led by teachers who are being affected by this. So we find out that if you come to ATUZ, even the leadership of ATUZ are practicing classroom teachers. So we do not employ people to represent us as teachers. We represent ourselves.
Yes, some of your actions
at Acturas High School, and also the Secretary General of Amalgamated Rural
You
Teachers
can be
Union.
quite dramatic.
So
as a union, you are quite dramatic. So is that your MO? Is that how you operate, or it just happens that you, like the walk that you're talking about from Mutare to Harare?
Okay, thank you so much. But when you say dramatic, I do not understand the essence of dramatic. But when you are coming up with initiative for advocates, you can choose any other initiative, as long as they are lawful, as long as they are constitutional, or you are not doing something which is not lawful. So just like the walk, some people can say that it was dramatic, but it had an impact.
Yeah.
Because it is the one which built up to the now to the position that we are now, where we are saying all other teachers union are now requesting for United States dollars, which is very true. But when we started, some even went behind the scenes, some to go and request for RTGS. But when we are coming up with initiatives, we come up with...
Is this on record that some of the associations and unions went and requested for...
Yes, we know of Zimta. It went on and...
Straight to the government.
It made government officials actually requesting for the RTGS, but now it's also now seeing that, it was, what they did was not going to... It's not sustainability. And now they are speaking also the same language, but not sure about the techniques that they will use. But even when you're saying dramatic, I want to go back to the issue when you're saying dramatic.
Yes.
Even when we were walking, we were simply walking with our demands, coming to present them to Harare. And people tend to ignore, even on the first days, the government tend to ignore. But because we are doing this genuinely, and we wanted to raise awareness, we wanted to raise consciousness among the citizens, was that the issue that we're talking about is of paramount importance.
So it boils down to passion.
They started now arresting us. But if it had no impact, why are you arresting people who are just walking?
All right, yes.
Because it had impact, they started arresting. We arrested more than 4 times for just walking. But because it had an impact. So that's not drama. someone is acting drama. Can you arrest someone who is acting drama? No, but someone who is genuinely presenting issues. And why is it that those who are responsible supposed to address those issues are afraid? But we know, of course, there are people who actually tend to trivialize serious issues.
Yes, we do.
We never mind, as long as what we are doing is actually informed by the membership decisions. We do that wholeheartedly.
Okay. All right, so Comrade Chere, we've established that your union is very passionate about what you do, and your approach, the approach that you use is very creative. You use very innovative techniques to drive your message across. And obviously you've been heard. You've drawn the attention, like you were saying, you've drawn the attention of the government. You were getting arrested during your walk. And now the government has provided a cushion. Are you satisfied with what the government has done so far?
We are not satisfied with what the government has done so far because the government is not genuinely engaged. When we are talking about labor matters, the government should negotiate with the workers in what you call genuine dialogue. But there was no genuine dialogue to take care of. So now we are saying that agreement that was done by the government, it was done between the government and what we call the NJNC. But that the NJNC, which is the National Joint Negotiating Council, that platform is illegal because they are using a statutory instrument which is not aligned to the new constitution of Zimbabwe, where workers' representation should be consulted, and all of them being involved in the negotiating processes. Okay, so we are saying even the cushion that they came up with.
Yes.
We are now they are saying the cushion, but when they announced that it was announced as a salary increment, that's $100.
Yes.
Now it was announced as the salary increment, but now it is now being referred as to cushion. This is just a point of why I'm saying government has never been taking our issues seriously and has never been engaging genuinely. Even up to now, they said they are going to pay school fees for up to 3 children of teachers. Even if we are not happy with it, but we find out that even up to now, they haven't even done that.
Okay, just coming
week,
back.
I wrote to the Ministry of...
Just hold on.
Okay, but just recently I wrote to the Ministry of Finance, reminding him of the need to deposit the amount that they promised that they will be paying school fees for teachers' children in their SSB accounts. And we are yet to see that happening.
Okay, what would you rather the government would have done? Invited you to dialogue, invite ATUs, invite all the the teachers' unions? Who do you want to have dialogue with the government at? Just break it down very quickly, very briefly.
All right. When I'm saying genuine dialogue is that government, when in terms of negotiating, this is very clear in our constitution.
Yes.
Government should call the representatives of workers, all workers. Yeah, like in this case, we are talking about recognized trade unions, which are recognized. But in this case, they are not doing that. They are choosing to call the Apex and then they convene what to call the NJNC, which is not lawful. So there is no even a sincerity in terms of negotiating from the government.
So you're saying you're getting breadcrumbs and you're not satisfied with that?
Yes, we are not satisfied with what we are getting. We want the restoration of the United States dollar, $540 minimum and above.
All right, and that will just set you at a place where you can live a very dignified life.
That's true. It will set us at a place where we will not, where we will live a decent, where we will live, where we will.
And that's all you're asking for, really. That's all you're asking for.
Without saving, because we are not talking about saving, but where we will actually also manage to have health food also. We know
decent life,
nutrition, decent life, managing also to get transport to and from work. Also paying fees for our own children.
Yes.
At 540, that's minimum. It's reasonable. It's reasonable considering also the fact that Minister Mthuli Ncube has always been on record saying that the economy is performing well and we have surplus, but we can't have a surplus. We can't talk about a surplus when workers are wallowing in abject poverty, when workers are getting slave wages. So we are saying that
you also want to benefit from the
for
the surplus.
Benefit from what we told teacher, we also want to be part and parcel of this economy.
All right, so teachers have been recorded playing games and basking in the sun during working hours, right? And then on top of that, loading children with so much homework. And now it's on the parents to maybe educate the children. And, children are going to the next grade and to the next level without having learned at least 50% of the curriculum. All right. If you're given the salaries that you're asking for...
Can I just come in on...
Let me just finish. If you are given the salaries that you're asking for, the 540s, are you going to go back to a place where you teach, during working hours, children have decent amount or just bearable amounts of homework? Because right now my question is concerned with the children. They have such huge amounts of homework, and now the parents have to help with that. What can be done to address that? That's the second question. The first being, when you get the 540, are you going to go back to a place where you're teaching?
Thank you so much. But let me say, before I come to the point that you have raised, that teachers have been seeing playing, not taking their work seriously. Let me put it on a record that at ATUS, we have always said, and this is in line with our theme for this year, that reviving the classroom. Mm-hmm. And we warned our employer that if schools are opening, let the schools genuinely open. We do not want a fake schools opening. Mm-hmm. And genuine opening of schools comes when a teacher is motivated, when a teacher is empowered to go and execute his or her duties. Mm-hmm. And the empowerment comes with the learning and teaching resources being put in place. Mm. We are operating in schools like in rural areas where we have got limited resources, where we've got higher teacher people ratio, where a teacher who is supposed to be teaching a classroom of 32 learners, now the teacher will be teaching learners of a class of more than 90, just like someone who is addressing a rally where the teacher is supposed to be facilitating mm-hmm. learning. And also not forgetting the issue of the decent salary that I've mentioned.
Which will be the motivating factor.
Of course, when one is working, also that person also needs to have to be rewarded also a fair wage.
That's fair enough. But my question is, if you get the 540, are you going to go back to a place where you're teaching effectively, children are being engaged and addressed? Are you going to go back to that place?
We have never received reports of teachers who will be in classroom and not teaching effectively. But I also want to highlight to you that the approach that is being taken now in our public schools, because we have the public schools and the private schools. Yes. These public schools, what is now happening are the ones for teachers who are on the government payroll. But the public schools are the ones who have got teachers who are on those institutions' payroll, where the rich class, the elite class, most of them are government officials' children who are learning in those schools, and they pay their school fees in huge amounts of school fees in foreign currency, which actually they are denying to give the teachers. And the teachers there are being rewarded meaningfully. So
if you get the 540, are you going to go back to...
Can you allow me now?
I'm trying, but you're not getting there.
I'm getting there, but let me give this to the audience, to the viewers, so that they will appreciate. Because at the end of the day, we want them to understand the problems that are in our schools and where the problems is emanating from. Mm. So the issue of fake schools opening that I've been saying is that our government now, what we are seeing, they are comfortable with the fake opening of schools, where they just say the schools are open, teachers are in class, but there is nothing that is taking place. or mainly because the issues of the resources, the motivating factor that I have talked about, the issue of salary. Because if you force someone to go and attend on an empty stomach, then that person will go and find a piece job even during the learning hours. You know, it's a fact that.
So, are you admitting that teachers?
We can't allow someone to faint in the classroom, but they have to also find some piece jobs also to actually sustain.
So are you admitting that teachers, while they are employed by the government, have also gone and found other sources of income?
To cushion their salary, because the salary, the salary is not enough.
No, that's fair enough. We've heard that.
We have to know the salary is not enough to take care of a teacher. So
they found other sources of income.
Survival. Of course, we have actually recorded the deaths of some teachers who have died doing artisanal mining, because they are trying actually to try by all means also to cushion their salary through other things. But we are saying we cannot have a country where professionals cannot execute their duties because they are not being well remunerated. If our government fails to remunerate their employers, then what are they going to do to them? Are they going to whip the private sector if they fail to remunerate their employers? They must lead by examples. But the issue of education, now we are saying it is mainly coming because the public education is now being left only for the ordinary citizens who are the poor working class, and who happens to be the majority of the citizens. But the elite, so there's now a gap between the rich and the poor. The rich who are affording, they are even government officials, they are sending their children.
If you get the 540
those elite schools, they don't care about what happens in the public schools. But if we get the 540, obviously with resources, we also want resources in the schools, infrastructure, learning material being put in the schools.
Okay.
Then we are good to go. We are talking about an education which is functioning, performing well.
All right. So now that actually brings me to my next question, is that you are very vocal. Artuz is very vocal about the 540, about increment of salaries and that, right? But is everything else in the education sector okay? Is it acceptable? Are your working conditions fine?
Artuz is a record also speaking to the issues of access to education. It's not only about the salaries. We value education. We want learners in classroom. We want learners actually receiving quality education. We want also learners to be accessing education in the communities that they are. So Artuz, besides the issue to do with the remuneration, we also fight for we also fight for rural education. Things in the school as we speak, rural education is lagging behind in terms of infrastructure.
All right.
So we also want the government also to aid, to introduce a fund, which we at our union, we've crafted a document and come up with a term we say Education Equalization Fund. So if the budget, when there's a budget being prepared, they can also get a provision for that, increase the budgetary allocation. Even the government is a signatory to the Dakar Declaration, which says 23% of the national budget should be allocated to the education sector, but which is not what is on the ground now. Right. But if that is availed, we want what we call Educational Equalization Fund. This fund going actually to upgrade the status of the rural education so that there's sufficient infrastructure, quality infrastructure, so that we also move in line with the SDG number 4, so that there are no learners who are left behind, who are not getting into schools. We might have the greatest inventors to come in this world, coming from Zaraban, coming from Mberengwa, but if they do not have access to education, they will remain there. And education is actually a tool which can even lead to community development in the rural area. And also, Artuz has also been actually coming up with other alternative policies of education. We also drafted what we call the Education in Emergency Charter, This has got recommendations and also other important issues to do with what happens or alternative ways of dealing with education. You know, in rural areas, sometimes when we receive the first rains of the season, sometimes winds come, and at the end of the day, some of the rivers will flood, and learners will not be able to access their schools, or
Yes.
some of the classroom blocks will be swept away. And we'll also had an emergency like what we are currently living, the COVID-19 pandemic. And the learners in the rural areas have been lagging behind because these are the learners who do not have facility for internet learning. They spend much of their time not in classroom. And we had to plan for this unforeseen. And we came up with that document. We gave it to the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education so that they can also take into a look. So we value education. Besides the issue of having the issue of our remuneration, we also come up with these other initiatives that will make sure that there is access to education, and that access to education and the quality education component of it also being included.
Okay, so you remember when talking about how you're quite theatrical about the salaries and the remuneration and that, and now you're saying you've put policies in place and to the minister, right? Why? It appears, correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears that most of your efforts and most of your creativity is channeled towards your own remuneration. My concerns are on the children, the next generation, human capital in Zimbabwe, right? Those children are not getting quality education. I think I can safely say for the past 4 years, this crop that we have in schools right now has not been receiving, COVID or not, they have not been receiving quality education. Why are your energies channeled more on remuneration, which you said you do, and you do deserve to live a dignified life? But now what about the future? Because it's not all of us have the vocation to be teachers. Becoming a teacher is in Shona people's kukujipira, right? It's a great big responsibility for future generations. Why are you not channeling, exerting that much force for the children? Because that's the whole point of being a teacher, is to teach.
Thank you so much, but let me correct you that we are not only putting more effort on our remuneration.
No, I didn't say you're not. I said you are forcing, putting a lot of force on the remuneration front. But now what is happening to the children?
We are doing all those things, putting force into the remuneration, also putting a lot of force to the issue to do with saving our education, which is also on the verge of crumbling. I want to tell you, Atus actually has got a campaign which is saying Save Our Education campaign. And this campaign is not only targeting the teachers.
How are you running this campaign?
Targeting all the stakeholders, the parents, the learners, the legislators, our MPs. So we have been doing our Parents-Teacher Association. We have created those dialogue platforms where we've been discussing about education.
And the attendance, what it's like?
They have been attended very well. We've been doing this across the country, inviting parliamentarians, and at the end of the day, parents presenting their issues, teachers presenting their issues, learners presenting their issues.
Inviting media? Are you inviting the media?
Yes, we've invited media, quite a number of them. If you go through the online or in the print mainstream media, you can come across our work. So we've been doing this in order because what we have that our education sector right now is on the verge of collapse, like you've indicated. Mm-hmm. But being on the verge of collapse, it is not the teacher who is causing that, but it is actually the responsible authority who are acting responsibly, whom I now prefer calling the irresponsible authority, because they are the ones who are supposed to take this education seriously, engage all the stakeholders, and then we move with collectively towards solving the issues that are emanating in the education sector. So that is the reason why I'm saying that we do print even alternative education policies, mm-hmm. because we value that the education sector there are issues that needs to be addressed in the education sector. I've told you about the issue to do with I've mentioned the issue to do with COVID-19 as an unforeseen. But even the Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe, we did not just rest and say that there is now COVID-19 that is in place. We created even a school, an online school where our teachers have been volunteering to teach. Where our teachers have been volunteering to teach learners who are sitting for exams, public examination. But because even teachers are incapacitated, we had also even challenges with data, because even the salaries that they are getting were not even enough to cushion them for the data to teach the learners. But we were doing this without reward, because we really value our learners and we really need our learners to be back in classroom. But it is also now need the government to take the issue of education is serious and restore the legacy of the education sector, which was once there, that Zimbabwe's education sector was the pride of Africa,
Yes.
a legacy of Africa. But right now, is it still? It's not, because what is happening now is that our education has completely been divided. We now have the public sector, which is now actually for the poor majority people in Zimbabwe, and then we've got the private sector. I think what we need to do as a country is actually to make sure that even the government officials, the ministry, whoever is presiding over the affairs of this of the processes of national issues, should send their kids also. It should be a mandatory that they should be also sending their kids into these public schools that we are teaching, so that they will treat the issue of public education with the seriousness it deserves.
Right.
Because they are not affected at the end of the day. It is only us, the majority, who will be affected. But this the few that claim to have surpluses in terms of budget, we see that their children are learning even in Switzerland, but they want some other people's children to spend 1 year, 4 months, 6 months not being in classroom, and then come just write an examination. They are, you know what, the mentality that they are doing is just like a father who is very abusive to his wife.
All right.
He goes into the house, beat the wife. Then when he wants the wife to go out, you order the wife to put lipstick, so that when the wife goes outside, people think that everything is okay because putting lipstick. They must bring their children in these public schools, so they.
All right. So the innovative programs and processes that you've done, like the policies that you've put in place, how much traction have you gained from that? Because you have had the attention of the government on the salary front. How much traction how much attention have you gained from the government? You said you submitted it to the minister. Have you heard back?
Yes, we have submitted the alternative policies that we have put in place to the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education. They said they are going through, but the mere fact that even the dialogues that we have been doing, that we have been creating under the Save Our Education campaign, we have also now seen even the issues to do with education issues being discussed in Parliament after we have engaged Parliament in this platform. So we can say that they are making impact, because if you see these issues now being discussed in the Parliament, it also now shows that
the process has started.
The process, there's an impact in terms of the work that we are doing.
All right, great. Thank you very much for that. All right, Comrade Chere, I want us to go back to the issue of the teachers playing during working hours, right? We have videos and pictures of teachers playing cards, playing fish, and pada, hopscotch during working hours, and the students are not learning. On top of that, they are loading massive amounts of homework on the children, and now it's on the parents to teach the children, because half the time they haven't been taught these things in class. And then on top of that, parents have to pay an extra amount, an extra fee for extra classes. All right, what does R2s have to say about that?
I wouldn't want to undermine the hard work that is being done by our teachers.
We are
in our
not
classroom
undermining anything.
and say that
They have been
are
documented.
playing. We have never received any reports of teachers playing.
But we
What
can't
we
deny
know
the
that
fact that there are videos and pictures of teachers playing during working hours.
If it happens that you saw the video, I would want maybe to see the video. But what I can assure is that teaching involves also having role modeling as a form of learning, demonstration as a form of learning, especially even in extracurricular activities.
We appreciate that, but our children are coming back from school and saying teachers were not teaching. What does ATUZ have to say about that?
You might have seen videos of teachers role modeling extracurricular activities and misinterpret it as saying the teachers are playing. But what I know is that the teachers that we have in our schools, these are the patriotic teachers who chose to remain behind under these conditions where they are getting salaries which we can term as slave wages, and did not go outside to search for greener pastures, but at the end of the day, they are not being rewarded. But what I can comment about now is also on the issue of extra lessons that you have raised in. The issue of extra lessons, we've always said that parents, we've discouraged parents from paying for extra lessons. And we have actually advocated for parents to join in the teachers in demanding that teachers be paid salaries, decent salaries or living wage, so that they wouldn't bargain to actually come in and do the responsibility where they are not supposed to be doing the responsibility.
So are you asking parents to be members of ATUZ?
Not that parents should be members of ATUZ. There are platforms that can be created where parents can actually contribute to education separately without being members of ATUZ.
Financially?
Not financially. What I'm saying is that parents can come in. There are platforms that they can create. We know that we've got SDCs. They can use those platforms. They can also even lobby the parliament. They can even form their own associations where they can lobby the government to avail and fund the education sector in the government. Not to take the responsibility, which is not their responsibility, of paying for extra lessons. Because if we do that, we are further widening that gap in the education sector, where those who will actually afford will then be able to do that. What about those who will not be able to pay for extra lessons? So we discourage parents from paying for extra lessons, but also to raise their voice in terms of advocates around the issue of saving our education, which is on the verge of collapsing, and that this they can do through creating various platforms where they can engage the government in terms of funding education. For example, even attending, parents actually encouraging each other to attend the budget consultative process, where they will demand also an increased allocation into the education sector increased allocation of funds into the education sector. It's one of the aspects that they can also do in terms of advocates around the issue of education.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, we've talked so much about academics. That was the implication throughout the conversation, right? What is ATUZ doing about sports? Because there are children who are not academically inclined, but are very talented in sports. What are you doing about that? What are you doing about those children?
What is needed right now as a union, what we did is that we are advocating for government to avail PPEs in our schools. When PPEs are availed in our schools, we are also encouraging we are encouraging members to also get vaccinated. All those who are also on the even learners who are now on the edge of getting vaccinated can become vaccinated. And when we have enough PPEs in our schools, we know that even sporting activities can now start to resume, so that there will be a lesser risk of the COVID-19 pandemic spread.
So what PPE would you need for athletics or cross country?
When people are fully vaccinated, it means that the risk for the spread is less. And also, when even the PPEs, because at the end of the day, our schools should operate in line with the World Health Organization guidelines, which we call standard operating procedures. So if those materials are availed, I'm sure sports is one of the most fundamental aspects because we understand that kids are not only gifted academically, we embrace these extracurricular activities. Some are gifted in terms of cultural activities, some in the sporting activities, and we value all those aspects that should be practiced at the moment in the schools.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade Chidi, for coming to join us. The issue of education is very emotional. It applies to every single person in the country. It applies to the teachers, it applies to the parents and the students as well, because they are the future generation. It's very important that this matter be addressed urgently because the future generation is suffering at the moment.
Thank you so much for having me on the program. Thank you so much, viewers and listeners, for listening and also viewing this program.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you for viewing our show. See you next week.